And 3,000 American troops are heading to the Middle East now after the leader of Iran promised revenge for a U.S. drone strike that took out a powerful military commander. President Trump did order that drone strike.
Yeah, and just over an hour ago, President Trump spoke, saying this attack saved lives.
We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war.
The president laying out a long list of atrocities committed by Qasem Soleimani, including terrorism, killing Americans, and murdering his own people. Now, we know the commander has a lot of support in Iran, and now their government has promised harsh punishment for the attack.
So what happens now? Well, we're listening to you at home, and that is the big question you're asking us today. A lot of speculation out there, some of it pretty alarming, too. Here are the immediate consequences for this attack. First, 3,000 Army troops are heading to the Middle East. Leaders at the Pentagon telling AP News those soldiers are from the 82nd Airborne Division from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. They joined 700 others deployed to Kuwait earlier this week after the attack on the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad. You'll soon see an impact at the gas pump from all this. Crude oil prices rose today between 3% and 4%. The CEO of GasBuddy told USA Today that gas prices will only increase about 5 cents in the next week or so. He says Iran's response to this attack will determine just how much more prices increase. All day, the American stock market kept falling. The global market's reacting to the same uncertainty that a lot of Americans are feeling right now. The Dow fell today 300 points, a little better than it was earlier in the day. The State Department is worried about Americans in Iraq. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is closed until further notice. And this is some brand new video of troops reinforcing the defenses at the embassy in Baghdad. But the real question today is, how will Iran carry out its promised revenge? Experts say we should prepare for violence.
There will be dead Americans, dead civilian Americans as a result of this, possibly over the next few days, in any place where Iran has its proxies. Iraq is the most likely place, but also Lebanon, Bahrain, other places in the Middle East.
Pretty dire warning there from Mike Morrell, the former deputy CIA director, also warning this will strengthen the general's extremist base in Iran. He says the Bush and Obama administrations chose not to take out the general because the risk was simply considered too great. So what about oil workers from Houston working overseas? Jason Miles, you reached out to more than a dozen companies today asking about the safety of their employees.
There are a lot of them, Russ, and a couple of the biggies did get back with me, including ExxonMobil, which is the leading contractor in one of Iraq's biggest oil fields. Take a look at this video. It's from an airport in Basra, Iraq. That's close to that major oil field in the southern part of that country. This was shot at that airport, and these are people who identified themselves as oil workers getting ready to catch departing flights back home to the U.S. or elsewhere. The mood appeared fairly relaxed. No one overly concerned at that airport. The Iraqi oil ministry did confirm earlier today that a number of Americans working in southern Iraq were in fact leaving that country. This coming after the U.S. government urged citizens to depart immediately or as soon as possible. It all follows, of course, that airstrike in Baghdad that killed an Iranian military leader and the attack on the U.S. Embassy earlier in the week by those pro-Iranian militia. Take a look at these statements. The first one from ExxonMobil, the company telling me in part, quote, ExxonMobil has programs and measures in place to provide security to protect its people, operations, and facilities. We are committed to ensuring the safety of our employees and contractors at all of our facilities around the world. Now a statement from Chevron, it's pretty brief, quote, we are monitoring the situation. The safety of our people and facilities is our top priority. Now, none of the energy companies have offered any specifics regarding security or personal matters for that matter. BP and Shell basically emailing me back, quote, no statement. But keep in mind, a lot of these facilities overseas in Iraq and elsewhere are multinational facilities. So you have U.S. citizens who work there, but you also have other foreign workers who may not be evacuating, may not be leaving Iraq. And at last check, most of these oil fields and other facilities were operating as normal. Of course, any long-term impact remains to be seen. We'll send it back over to you.
Yeah, we'll certainly be keeping an eye on it. Thank you, Jason.